And good evening to you, and welcome into another edition of Tennessee Tuesday on SCV Chat. I'm your host, John Blankenship, tonight. As you see on screen tonight, our special guest is James Patterson. We'll be talking with James tonight about his candidacy for Army of Tennessee Commander, and we'll be talking about that in the mid part of the program. We'll break it down coming up for you tonight. But again, we are glad you are here with us. It's been a nice day here in West Tennessee. Weather been pretty good. A little cool start to today, and probably will cool off again tonight, but loving this springtime weather. And let's start out with our disclaimer this evening. Of course, the views and opinions that you hear on this broadcast tonight are solely those of ourselves and not the SCV, the GEC, any division, brigades, camps, or other parts of our organization. These are solely our opinions tonight. So our disclaimer is covered, and we are glad you are with us. And several folks have already joined in on the chat, and we always like to recognize a few of those as we start out the program this evening. And we'll say hello to a couple of those coming up here in just a moment. But as you see him live and in person on screen tonight, here with us is Mr. James Patterson. James, good evening. How you doing?
Doing good. Glad to be here, and going to enjoy being on the program tonight. Starting off, I want to say Brian Corley passed away today. He was past camp commander of Camp 33. He was a strong member. Got cancer about 10 years ago and didn't get to be real active. But if y'all would keep Brian's family in your prayers, and I'll post on Facebook whenever I found out the arrangements on that. But he was just such a great guy.
Absolutely. Well, sorry to hear that. I saw your post a couple of days ago about his health not doing too well. So definitely in our thoughts and prayers, their family there in the camp, of course, and a longtime member there. So James, be sure to let us know, and we'll share that. So we're glad to have you here with us this evening. And coming up after our first break, we're going to get into your campaign. But for folks, James, know you're very active and involved in the SCV for several years now. And I'm being good on the several because It's been a long time you've been a member, and we appreciate all your dedication. And James, let's talk a little bit about tonight as we get started. We want to kind of talk about your background in the SCV. What got your interest in history, and then how did you get involved with the Sons of Confederate Veterans? And then as we get into through that, we'll kind of break there and then come talk about your goals in your campaign. So tell the folks that are watching James tonight a little bit about who is James Patterson.
Yeah, I joined the SCV about 35 years ago. And my interest in the Civil War and actually the Confederacy started back when I was in grade school. I was in the Boy Scouts, and we hiked the trails at Chickamauga, Stones River. The first book I got on the Civil War was called Confederate Arms, and I still have that book. It's a black and white book. It's got pictures of guns and swords and everything that young kids like to look at. And our family went to Stone Mountain, Georgia when it first opened up, and that was just kind of another introduction into Civil War history and the Confederacy. And then after my grandfather passed away, I got a bunch of his papers, and he had on there Archibald Patterson, a Confederate soldier. And I didn't know who in the world this guy was. Went to the family plot at Evergreen Cemetery in Murfreesboro, and he's buried on the opposite side of the plot from where my grandparents are. So that started my journey into the SCV. I think it was a Civil War Times magazine. There was just a little small ad in there for the Sons of Confederate Veterans. Wasn't anything flashy. And, called the number or sent off my letter, and boom, here I am today.
Well, so been a member a long time, and you mentioned kind of how you got interested in the Civil War side of it. Was history a big thing talked about in your family, James? Did you always hear about your ancestors? Did your family talk about them?
No, they didn't. And the one ancestor that I had that I knew that was in the Civil War was Adrian Nathaniel McDaniel, and he started out in the 16th Tennessee Infantry. And then in, I think it was Greensboro, South Carolina, the whole company joined the cavalry, and he joined McLemore's 4th Tennessee Cavalry and finished out the war there. He got captured and just never did go back. So that was the one that I knew as a kid that we had that was in the Confederate Army, because my mother had a picture of him, and then his obituary that she has displayed in the living room. And I've got that now.
Oh, that's very neat. Things that not many folks have those photographs of their ancestors. So, James, after you kind of joined, what was your interest after you joined? You knew you had an ancestor. That was obviously something that sparked you to join. But where did you fall in? What did you like the most after you joined the SCV?
I like the camaraderie. They had the courthouse. They had the Nathan Bedford Forest Room at the Rutherford County Courthouse. And I was 31 thereabouts when I joined. And I went in, and all the old guys said, "Look, we got a young guy here." And I'm thinking, well, I don't think I'm that young, but they had a lot of cool relics in the room and so forth. And when they remodeled the courthouse, they ended up taking out that floor, which had been added in like the 1960s. And the guy that was the camp commander, he was the man of all hats. He was an adjutant. He was a camp commander. He was a lieutenant commander. And I told him one day, Clay Chandler was his name. I said, "Clay, if you ever need any help or want me to take over the adjutant position, I'll do it." And he did. And I hung that title around my neck for about 31 years. And finally, he moved back to Milan, and he lived there until he passed away. So I was adjutant for 31 years, and then held a couple of different positions in the Tennessee Division too.
Now, James, tell me his name again.
Clay Chandler.
Okay, I recognize. So he moved back to Milan. I recognize that name.
Yeah, his son Morris Chandler ran the water treatment plant there in Milan, I believe.
Okay, yeah, that's a name I recognize. Didn't know that. Small world. Shows how, as you said, we're all one big family. We're all connected in some way. So, of course, I became adjutant there in Camp 33 for a long time. Tell me about some of the things you were involved in there in the local camp.
Yeah, we did a lot of the street festivals that they had. Canonsburg Pioneer Village, they were always welcoming to us. They have Uncle Dave Making Days. That's a festival they don't have anymore. And we would have members donate money throughout the year, and we'd buy about 2,000 or 3,000 little Confederate stick flags and hand those out. And man, people would be hunting us down to get one of those flags. We marched in a lot of the Christmas parades, and it was just a big camp with a lot of camaraderie. Everybody kind of hung out together, and so that's what is the glue that keeps everybody together, is everybody getting along and having a good time.
Absolutely. And that's one of those things we talk about, our division reunion in Tennessee coming up here in about 3 weeks. It's one of those things, if you've never been to a division reunion or even a national reunion for that matter, it's that camaraderie, it's that fellowship that you get to have, and you get to know folks. And as we've all become family and friends just through our common ancestors, that we've got the Confederate connection, but we've all become friends, and that's important.
Yes, it is. And that's why it's called a reunion and not a convention, because it's like a reunion of family members and people that, you can sit down and talk to a guy, and his ancestors might have been in the same unit or the same battle as yours. And it just, it's that common cause that keep us all together.
Well, James, let's talk a little bit about, of course, we've seen how long you've been in the SCV. What are some of the things in this little segment here? Let's talk about that you've accomplished in your time. You've been adjutant of Camp 33. You've been camp commander now, I know, and since you're not in Camp 33 anymore, let's talk about some of those things that you've done in the SCV that kind of brings us to current to where we are now.
Yeah, well, I was host for the 2012 National Reunion in Murfreesboro, the Sesquicentennial, and that was a big event. And we had, I think, 2 markers that we set during that reunion, monuments actually, one at the Eagleville City Hall, and then one at Sam Davis's original gravesite. We had a tablet we put in front of the Rutherford County Confederate Monument that had the names of all the regiments on it. And then after the Sesquicentennial, actually it was the year after the Sesquicentennial, we placed a monument in the old city cemetery in Murfreesboro that's got the name of all the Confederates that were killed in the Forest Murfreesboro raid. And
go ahead.
Yeah, we put on different events at Sam Davis home. We got a lot of folks that are SCV members on the board now, and Steve Murphy, Camp 33 chaplain, he's the president of the Sam Davis Memorial Association. That's all's happened because when the opportunity came up, we took advantage of that opportunity. Just like the Confederate Cemetery in Chattanooga, the city said they wanted to divest themselves of it whenever all the craziness happened. And instead of worrying about what they were going to do, we got with Scott Hall, and he went to the city. Boom. Now the SCV is the trustees for the Confederate Cemetery in Chattanooga, which is great. As long as we, that way we can keep that alive, keep it cleaned up, and keep it safe.
Absolutely. A beautiful site there. So we've talked about, the big reunion that you got to help organize and put together and led there in 2012. Let's talk about some of your roles, James, outside of the camp and maybe the division and even in the national level.
Outside of the camp, I was Tennessee Division commander for 2 years. Prior to those 2 terms, I was Army Tennessee councilman. I didn't get to do a whole lot with that because just working and other things going on. During the 2 terms as Tennessee Division commander, though, one of the projects that we got started was the Forest Hall project over at the Nathan Bedford Forest Home. And that's finally looking like it's going to get finished up. It's taking a little bit of time, but I think it's pretty much been paid for along the way. And
yep. So that one's been done along the way. Of course, it's coming along, and hopefully construction will begin here in just the next couple of weeks. I know they're working on things, and by our event in June, the homecoming there, hopefully, James, that's going to be completed, the pavilion part of the Forest Hall that we'll be able to utilize that this year. A lot of folks has given to that and made that possible. So we're excited. Of course, that started during your term there as a division commander. And James, let's talk about, what are the different positions you've held? You mentioned division commander. Did you hold others in the division as well?
I did. I started out as McLemore Brigade commander, worked up through first lieutenant commander, and then became division commander. 2 terms.
So definitely been involved in the SCV a long time, and I've seen the different roles. And James, after our first break coming up in a moment, I want us to kind of break down what kind of qualifies you for the position of Army of Tennessee Commander, and then some of the goals that you have. I know you've issued a press release that has been shared around now that you're seeking the position of Army of Tennessee Commander. So we'll be talking about that. If you'll hang around with us just a little while, we'll come back and we'll break all that down.
Okay, thank you, John.
All right, James Patterson is our guest this evening. He is a candidate for the SCV's Army of Tennessee Commander position, and we'll be talking more with James coming up here in just a few minutes. But let's go ahead and say hello to some folks this evening that have jumped on with us. Randy joining us from Union City and Camp 176. Hope he's doing well tonight. Also, a lot of our regulars are on with us this evening. Ryan Rogers joining us from Alabama, so good to see him this evening as well. Mr. Elliot Jackson, he's on with us here weekly on our program, so good to see Elliot tonight. Our old friend Derek Glover is back home near Jamestown. He's been traveling all over the South, been following his social media posts, and he's eaten down the road, James, just a couple of times for me here on his trip through and his trip back at the Old Country Store in Jackson. So if you've ever been there, you need to stop through. If you're coming down Interstate 40, you'll enjoy that. Also, Kim joining us again from Jacksonville, Florida. Hope all is well down that way. Johnny Jenkins joining us too from up in Springfield, Missouri. So hope he's doing well. Chuck Roydhouse, of course, from the General Hatton Camp in Lebanon. And he's Lieutenant Commander there, by the way, of the McLemore Brigade. So good to see Chuck on with us this evening. Let's see others. Rich Garcia jumping in tonight from Gainesboro. Our division chaplain, Jim Collinsworth. Jim's been working this afternoon in our local cemetery, James. I hadn't got to talk with him, but he's been busy setting some monuments and working on things there. So appreciate all his dedication and work. Also, a shout out there to the 5th Brigade, the Mississippi Division. Hope everybody's doing well down that way with Moose and all them. Also, Charles LeRae joining us. Good evening to him and to all the other viewers. And James, telling you congratulations there on your announcement. Also, David Daniels, our Tennessee Division genealogist. David's been busy getting members into our organization. So hello to him. A little spam post I see that we won't share tonight. Every once in a while, James, we'll get a spam post, and if you're in the YouTube comments, you've seen that one, so I'll remove that one. Every once in a while, we get one. Hello to Al, who is in Tullahoma. Hope he's doing well this evening. Lee Miller there. Hope Lee's doing well, the first with the most. Of course, he is down in the Memphis Brigade and the commander there. Let's see also Sean Hill joining us tonight down the road from you, James, and Lewis Burke. And let's see others here that want to try to get through some of these. A whole bunch of folks. Kentucky Division Commander Kyle Thompson is here and on time. Yes, I'm sharing his comment a little late, but he was with us on time tonight. So we'll give him an applause. He is here live and in person. Floyd Harvey joining us from the Keller Camp in Hot Springs, Arkansas. My friend Tom Strain, past Commander-in-Chief. They're making a comment about Brian, said he was a fine man and a good friend. So good to see Tom on with us this evening. From Florida, Sean McFall is on with us tonight as well. Your friend down the road, Carl Jones. Carl, currently the Army of Tennessee Commander, announced that he wasn't seeking re-election. So Carl on with us tonight. Appreciate all his work he does in the organization. Jeff Plummer joining us as well from the Delaware Grays. Hope he's doing good. Commander Dennis Stubblefield saying hello from Portland tonight. And a couple of more here we'll say hello to that have joined us. J.R. Price down the road from Mike Stone, Camp 564 in Henderson. And one more tonight, Mr. Ray Walton joining us from Hanover, Virginia. So hello to all those folks that are on with us tonight. Continue to talk in the chat. We'll share some more of those comments. And we do want to go ahead and take our first break tonight, but we need to say thank you to all of our sponsors. Again, we couldn't do this broadcast without all these fine folks that you're going to see on the screen now. You can become a Patreon member. It's really, really easy for you to do. Just simply go to scvchat.com. There you have different levels that you can join, and those are the folks that have joined at the different levels. You can also be a show sponsor as well and be a sponsor on all the different programs that you hear on SCV Chat. And one of those is Dr. Chris Cummings in Oxford. modern medicine, and Southern hospitality. We appreciate Dr. Chris Cummings. If you're experiencing health issues and knee pain, you can go see him, set up an appointment. He'll take good care of you. One of our show sponsors here on Tennessee Tuesday. Also tonight, we have our sponsor, 31st Reg Engraving.com. The 31st Regiment Engraving Company, there's some of the products that they can supply for you. That's just a few of those samples. Check out their website, and you can learn more about them. Past Commander-in-Chief Larry McClooney and his new book, Paradox of Freedom, A History of Black Slaveholders in America. That new book is available, booksbylarry.com, and we appreciate Larry sponsoring our shows at SCB Chat. Also, Beauregard's Taylor. You see the different products that they have available. They're a family-owned and a business-driven, proudly offering authentic War Between the States reproductions, T-shirts, lapel pins, and other items. Visit their website, Beauregard'sTaylor.shop. And finally, tonight, the museum at Market Hall, again in Charleston, South Carolina. Got to see that a couple of years ago at the National Reunion. Again, their hours are Thursday through Sunday, so if you're going to plan a trip to Charleston, South Carolina, you want to make sure you go see this very nice museum, 11 till 4. Again, their motto, if the flag is out, they are open. So again, thanks to the museum at Market Hall for being our sponsor here of SCB Chat and Tennessee Tuesday on this Tuesday, March the 24th. Again, visit scbchat.com if you would like to become a sponsor of the program. There's different levels. Again, you can join, and we do appreciate all of those and their support of our broadcast tonight. Well, we'll be right back after this. We'll come back, and we'll be talking with James Patterson, who is our guest this evening.
There is a place nestled in the rolling farmland of southern Middle Tennessee. A home constructed in 1837, nearly lost to the ravages of war. Saved by a servant and a Confederate general. A place where families loved and lost. If walls could talk, what stories could be told? If a place, a home, can feel love, loss, pain, surely this is one of those places. Nearby is a more recent structure, and inside are the stories of heroes and heroines, stories of battles won and lost. Stories of sacrifices made by the people of its native soil. A place that will tell the true and complete story of the Southland and the war fought for its freedom. From the causes that led to the conflict to the modern-day struggles to protect Southern history. Historic Elm Springs and the Confederate Museum at Elm Springs are the general headquarters for the Sons of Confederate Veterans. A place where the story of the Southland and its historic struggle is preserved and told. Come and discover your history.
Our Southern heritage is under attack. Whose heritage, some may ask? Well, the heritage of those that love God, their families, and their homes. We must stand together and fight back against those who wish to destroy it. The Sons of Confederate Veterans regard these attacks as frivolous and are committed to preserve and protect our history. We can't do it alone. We need your help. To learn more about membership, visit TennesseeSCV.org. If not us, who? If not now, when? And welcome back into Tennessee Tuesday this evening. I'm your host, John Blankenship, with you tonight. Of course, Jason Boshears is out and not available to be with us this evening. Jason will be back with us in a couple of weeks. But our guest tonight is James Patterson, who is a past Tennessee Division commander. He has also served as Army of Tennessee councilman in the past and held many different positions in our organization. And now he is a candidate for the Army of Tennessee commander. That position is now becoming available this July for folks that are seeking that office. And James has put out a press release a few days ago that really gives a background of all that he's been involved in and the goals that he has to see the SCV accomplish. And tonight, James, let's talk a little bit about those. And I'm going to kind of let you lead where you want to go tonight with these things and some of the goals that you have, maybe where you see the SCV is now and where does it need to get to?
Yeah, growing our membership is something that we struggle with. But it's not uncommon for any of the other social organizations. NRA, they've lost members over the last 10 years. And there's no crystal ball or magic bullet, but I think getting everybody together, trying to make get with all the division commanders in the Army of Tennessee, and let's try to develop a plan. Let's see what's working for some, what's not working. Do a survey. Just about every organization does a membership survey to see what their members want, what they don't like. Sometimes it's hard to listen to what people don't, what they don't like, but you got to listen to that kind of criticism to maybe come up with a solution.
That's a very good point you made there, James, as we look, what do the membership want? And that's good to look at that. And what do they see? Where do they, sometimes, we all get the same viewpoint, and all of us in any role we're in the organization is we see it a certain way, but what do other folks see? What do they see where faults or failures are, things that we can grow stronger on? So that's one of those things I see that looks like you're going to work towards.
Yeah. Idea sharing is something that probably doesn't happen as often as it should within every level of SCV. I was in manufacturing for 30 years, and we were constantly trained. We were constantly would go over our processes just to be sure we were doing everything the way we were supposed to. And when a problem came up, we didn't wait to fix it. We had to get out there and fix it immediately. So I think maybe a little quicker reaction time. Rich Garcia sent me a recruiting program that he wants to try to implement within the Army of Tennessee, and maybe on a national level. That's what we need to do, is see where we get ideas from other people in the Army and the whole organization to help make this organization grow.
And James, you mentioned training, and that's something very important. You've had it in your professional career. I have it in mine. We're constantly learning new things and being willing to accept new things in technology, for example. Let's talk a little bit about, if you would, some of this training that you mentioned. Where do we need training? What kind of training can we offer to our membership in our camps?
Well, I joined the SAR about 4 years ago. They've got SAR University online. You got to go through your membership portal to take the classes. They've got a class on every office in the organization. They got a class on what the organization's about. I think a lot of people join the SCV, they're intimidated by becoming an officer. That's a problem throughout the organization, and just about any organization is struggling to get people to volunteer and become officers because they just don't know what the expectations are. So we had that kind of online training. Eric Pravati's class that he does is outstanding, but it should be online where a member can go online and watch the video at their convenience rather than have to, jump around their schedule to catch that time slot when it's available through headquarters.
Well, let's talk a little bit about social media, James, and technology kind of comes in there as well. How is that going to play a role in the future of the SCV? Like, for example, this program we're doing tonight is utilizing social media such as Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, just naming those three. Do we need to grow in that? Do we need to expand that?
We do need to grow on that. And I think that, if every division in the SCV, and I'm going to try to see if I get elected, see if every division in the Army could do like a Tennessee Tuesday, but have it named for whatever division they're in, just to give their members the feel that, they can go online and see their officers talking and know what's going on right then and there within their division.
What kind of technology do you think our membership needs? I feel like I'm pretty good at technology. I know you are as well, but there are some that maybe are intimidated by it, a little scared about it. Do we need to have some training there for maybe camp commanders, how to use such things? I mean, we're talking about video now, but such things as just having a camp Facebook page or an Instagram page. Do you think people need training there and help?
I think it wouldn't hurt. There's a lot of people that might do a Facebook page for the camp, but really don't know how to set it up and get people to be part of the admin. It's and then you look at Instagram and those other platforms. Those are some that I know nothing about. Doing a YouTube video, a lot of people do good YouTube videos. Just learning how to do that. Somebody give a tutorial on setting up a YouTube, video session would be helpful, I think. And the more people that do that, the more of our stuff that we get online, it might fall into the AI where it's drawing from the information we put out there to give some of the answers that you get when you go in and you ask AI question.
I mean, that's a very good point. You mentioned AI. That's whether you love it or hate it, it's something that's not going away. And in the past year, I began to use it more and more, and it's got some neat possibilities of things you can do, and it can really assist you. But for example, if you're doing research, you say, write me an article on the Army of Tennessee in 1862. Well, you may get some strange viewpoints. That's why it's important that we're putting out information digitally, right?
We are. And I did one here a while back, and I forget the topic, but I think it was named Atrocities Against the Southern Civilians During the War Between the States. And it turned me some information out. Then it said, do you want quotations from books or whatever? And I said, yes, so it did that. And then it asked me, do you want this to be more leaning towards the Southern side? And I said, yes. And every time that it would give me another report, it would kind of know what I wanted the report to go to. It was kind of scary, but that's where the technology is. And kids are using it in school today. I know people are using it in business. So it would be good if we had somebody that was, maybe not a professional, but somebody that knew a lot about it to help us, further our cause with it.
And no, again, we get scared of it at times, and it's capable of, but we can use it to our benefit.
Right.
It is available out there. It's a tool that, someone recently said the tools in our toolbox. It's something that's there that we need to use that one, dust it off, and make use of it. So, James, you mentioned earlier as we kind of started off, the word SWAT. Some folks may know what that means. Some may not. Kind of break that down for us tonight. What is that kind of evaluation that's happening?
You do a SWOT evaluation and you list your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And everybody might see it differently, but at least you get it on a list and you kind of look over the data and see where people's concerns are. See what's going good, what's not going good, and sit down and try to figure out how to work out the bad and promote the good.
Well, James, how do you see your role if you were to be elected as Army commander? How do you plan to use that? How do you plan to get that information? Who are you working with? Division commanders? What are your plans kind of there you're thinking?
Yeah, it would be straight with the division commanders. I like to, start relying on them to give some information, and let's do some idea sharing. Like I said earlier, there's like the government relations committee that we have here in the Tennessee division. We've done a lot of good work with that. And when we started working on working with our legislatures to see about getting the monuments committee set up that came away from the Tennessee Historical Commission, we found an article on how they had done it down in Alabama. So that's kind of where we drew from to help get the wording for the one here. So each division could kind of communicate within each other. Tell us what's going on. What's your Heritage Protection Act got in it? What do you like? What do you not like? What do you need to change? It's just all about idea sharing. It take a couple of committees too, of people that were willing to jump in and help with that.
So would you see your role as Army of Tennessee commander as kind of liaison between all the the divisions together and bringing them together?
That's what I think needs to happen to solve some of these problems we have and to help the organization grow. Just so everybody kind of knows what's going on, we can discuss our concerns with each other. And if we come up with a recruiting program, kind of spread it out across the whole Army of Tennessee and see how it works for everybody.
Absolutely. Well, James Patterson is our guest this evening. He is a candidate for Army of Tennessee commander, and we're talking about some of the plans he's got if he were to be elected in the July reunion in Lexington, Kentucky. And James, another thing you mentioned in your release here, in your announcement that you're seeking the position, is the Nathan Bedford Forrest Boyhood Home. I know you've been involved in that for a long time, and to see that grow. We mentioned at the start of the program about the Forest Hall project the Tennessee Division's been involved in. What do you see that the future of that home? How is it utilized better?
That's one of the most underutilized assets that the SCV has. And Gene Andrews, I can't say enough about the service that he has done to keep up the Forest Home site. He keeps it immaculately mowed, keeps the buildings all clean. But we have our one big event during the year, and then you have people that go there for random tours. So we need to try to promote that site. And I think if we could develop a long-term site plan, Gene ain't going to be around here forever.
Yeah,
he might, but we need to start looking down the road and seeing what we're going to do to, keep the site going. Who's going to do the mowing, promote the home to make it a tourist destination, and it could be a great source of income for the national organization. I think to accomplish that, we probably need to establish a perpetual board instead of one that turns over every 2 years, because it's hard to, to stay on track when 2 years people roll off. And my vision would be for maybe the Tennessee Division to become the trustees for the site. National still own it and have, control of it.
Sure.
But let maybe the Tennessee Division be the ones that operate it and report back to National, because that's pretty much what we've done anyway. It's local camps that go out there and help Gene when we need to get set up for the Forest Homecoming. Again,
it's a great property SCV owns, and of course we've been able in the Tennessee Division. You kind of spearheaded that, James, and got that going. Your time as division commander there for the Forest Hall. Do you want to talk a little bit about that project for folks that are watching that may not know much about what Forest Hall project is?
Yeah, the Forest Hall project started out, actually, I think Tom Strain was commander at the time. And we started talking about building a site on the facility to have like a little museum and then a place where people could go and have meetings and so forth. So over the years, as we've raised money, we built it in phases, and right now the concrete's been poured. That was all through donations. And then this last year at the Tennessee Division reunion, John had them bring up just the division going ahead and footing the bill to get the pavilion part of it done. For to be an open air pavilion, we can have events there. We could rent the place out. Wedding venues go for a lot of money. If we had everything set up where we could have it available for rentals, I think it'd be a good source of income. And then eventually, I think Gene's plan was to part of it to have it sealed up where we could have a little museum in there and a place to sell T-shirts and so forth.
Yep. I mean, it's a great project. It's going to be very good to have there. It'll be utilized. I know if you've ever been to a Forest Homecoming, James, we can always use that space to set up booths, to have other activities, and fingers crossed that construction may be done by our June event and we'll get to utilize it this year. So again, a shout out to you, James. Thank you for your work on that, starting that project, and all the others that have contributed to that to make that possible. Well, James, as we continue tonight, we talk about your candidacy for the Army of Tennessee Commander. Let me ask you this question. This is probably a deep one sometimes that we don't talk a whole lot about. Where do you see the SCV in 10, 15, and 20 years? Do we survive? Do we grow? Do we stay the same? What is your vision there for the SCV long term?
I think we'll survive, and it's going to depend on what we do the next couple of years, how big the organization is. We've been around for a long time anyway. I don't think the SCV will ever go away. There'll always be an interest in it. I think sometimes we try to look outside of where our core membership is at. And it's good to look at, younger people, but it's kind of an older guys organization. And, we got 25, 30,000 members. If you look at the population of the South, there's millions of people. So we've got an opportunity to target the people that make up the membership now. And I've always said, usually you get the dad to come in, and he's going to get his son signed up, or the granddad comes in and he gets his brothers and other people signed up. So I'm not saying we don't need to go after youth, but we should probably target our core audience to see if we can get, our membership up.
Well, again, great discussion tonight. James Patterson, our guest here on Tennessee Tuesday. James, as we kind of get ready to wrap up this portion, anything else that I haven't asked you about tonight that you want to kind of touch on, as you are a candidate coming up for this July? And what else would you have the folks viewing tonight want to know?
I don't think so. I think we've covered about everything.
Well, good discussion tonight. Again, James, thank you for doing this. A couple of comments we want to share tonight, and I'm going to go ahead and put Moose's comment up tonight. Now, when I reached out to you about being on the show, I thought, well, he hasn't set you up to be on his yet. And, of course, mine happened to fall right before his. I think you're coming on Thursday with Moose, aren't you?
I am.
So I hope I didn't take all of his questions. He does his program a little different than I do mine. We're a little more casually talking. He has questions, as you've heard, with the other candidates that I filled in a couple of times with. So you're also going to be on with Moose. We'll try to do better, Moose. I won't be I won't take your guest away from you. Let's see. Also, Moose does say this, and me and him have talked a good bit about this, James. Technology is key to victory. It's criminally undervalued. That's true. Technology, and I was talking about this with somebody today, James. Let me ask you your thoughts on this. As we talk about the different age groups, I always thought you'd say younger people use technology, older people don't. Sometimes that's the right opposite. I've learned in my professional career now in the library world. You think it's the right opposite of what it maybe really is at times. So do we need to spend dollars towards technology and advertising digitally, maybe such as YouTube ads, Facebook ads? Do we need to do that stuff?
I think so. The days of radio and newspaper are pretty well over with. We ran some ads here in Lincoln County, and whenever we ran an ad, I always put a QR code on there that would take them straight to our camp website. And I could go on there and see the graph of where it would jump as far as the views and everything. But I don't know that we ever actually got any members out of it. But at least we had people looking. And, it's just like a used car or a car salesman. He might go all week and talk to 100 different people and end up selling one car. So just because we're doing something and we don't always get, a bunch of members out of it, at least we're getting exposure and we're getting their name out there. So yeah, I think all those kinds of technology would be good to invest in, and just we got to start trying some stuff.
Absolutely. And here another comment from Charles LeRae. Our social media pages need to be active with positive and engaging content. It does not pay to have a ghost account. That's true. If you have a camp page, and I know things happen, you maybe lose access to some of those with the changing of admins, but just to have one and never put any updated information or anything that's relevant, you think that's a good point, James?
I do. And when he said have positive content, I think that's important too. I think sometimes, we don't promote battles and ancestors and that as much as we should. During all the riots and all that, people got used to being mad all the time, and we can't be mad all the time. We got to start making this a fun organization to be a part of. And it's like the CERT program. I think that's another underutilized program across the whole SCV. And it's something that people really enjoy doing. Even people that aren't SCV members like going to cemeteries and cleaning up graves and stuff like that. So that's another good program that I think should be promoted across the Army. And I know a lot of divisions have a CERT program, but it'd be good if on the national level, we tried to, make that something to work, have every division try to get involved in.
Well, James, this is another one of those questions here that maybe get a little deep, and you can feel free to take this if you want to. You mentioned where do we go? I kind of lost my train of thought on where we were going with that. Well, it's gone. It'll come back to me. That's one of those when you ask a question off the cuff, you lose it. So let's go back to the comments here, a couple of more. And David Daniels says this here tonight: don't let genealogy be an excuse for not recruiting. And that kind of goes along with that same thing where we were going, James. Do we want to, does the SCV, and I'm getting your opinion here, does it need to focus on more of the history of our ancestors, fighting battles in court, some of the modern political stuff that's out there that we happen around us? Where does the SCV need to fall in some of that?
Well, on the ancestor side of it, that's what you get people interested in, to get them ancestor, and they get to find out the battles they were in. When I first joined, I had no idea about any of the battles or the unit my ancestor was in. And then the more I got into that, I really started finding other ancestors. I think that's a starting point. And then, the court battles or the monument stuff, the legal stuff, that's something that's kind of a division or officer level thing you have to worry with.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's another comment Moose has tonight. He's jumping in here. And of course, we don't forget that about this being Army of Tennessee. Beauvoir, should that be considered in some of the discussion? How can it even be more utilized?
I think so too. All of our Confederate friendly properties should be better utilized and promoted within the national organization. I brought up the Sam Davis home earlier. That's a Confederate friendly site. We've got several SCB members on the board over there. We don't own it, but it's a site that's means a lot to a lot of people. Beauvoir.
You see his comment there. I like what Moose had to say, 5-year terms. You mentioned that earlier about longer terms for, like, example, the Forest Home Committee.
Yeah, that would be good at the Forest Home to have a committee that could follow through on some of the things that they start.
Absolutely. Well, James, I'm looking through the comments tonight. There's a lot of comments, and you may be seeing some of these, many of these on Facebook tonight. We're going through, and I'm see if there's any other questions or things that we folks may be asking you. Some nice compliments here from many folks this evening. And let's see, I believe that's got all the questions from the viewers tonight, James. Again, you are a candidate for the Army of Tennessee Commander. Tell me a little bit again how folks can learn more about you. How can they contact you if they have further questions?
I guess you could go to the division Facebook page or mine, friend me, and I'll have some more information posted out there. I told John earlier before the show started, I've jumped in at the fourth quarter. I haven't had but a couple of weeks to kind of get everything together. And I've already got a lot of stuff scheduled out coming up. And this last week, I've got bumped up to president of the Lincoln County Museum. So I got a lot going on. But I'll get some more stuff out there. I'll start a Facebook page for my run for office.
Well, James, again, I know, like you said, it's early on in your campaign. You just really announced this in the last few days. And thank you for joining us so quickly. I know you probably haven't had a lot of time to put those thoughts together deep yet. But again, you have served on many different levels, and the local camp to the division, even to national level. And you want to continue that to a different position. So again, James, they can reach out to you on social media if they have more questions. And I'm sure you'd be happy to answer those, and know that the door is always open anytime that you want to be on the program, whether it's about the candidacy position or just something you've got going on in Fayetteville. As we kind of segue out of that, James, tell me a little bit about some things you're working on in Fayetteville, because I know you've got an event coming up, and we were going to talk about that later, but let's go ahead and do that now. That's coming up at the end of April. I know you have a big event there on Court Square.
Yeah, April 25th. 11 to 2 o'clock, we've got our annual Confederate History Month commemoration. If you go to jrmscv152.com, that's our camp website. It's got the flyer on there, and you look at a lot of other stuff on there too. You look at the camp newsletter, and we're hosting the Tennessee Division reunion this next year as well. I've got a pull down tab started, but I hadn't uploaded my forms yet. I've got those ready, but we're just trying to be sure we've got everything in place for that.
Well, James, I know you're a busy man dedicated to our organization, and we appreciate all you do. And if you want to hang around with us a few more minutes, you can. We'll go through some division news, and we'll talk about some things going on in the Tennessee division. We continue on Tennessee Tuesday on this March the 24th.
Was your great-grandfather a traitor or a patriot? Today's politically correct are trying hard to take away the heritage of the brave Confederate soldiers who fought and died for their land. But one thing is certain, they can't change history. Those Confederate soldiers were fighting for the same reason soldiers fight today. They were fighting against homeland invasion. We believe that the desecration of the bravery, patriotism, and honor of those men should not be allowed. They were outmanned and outsupplied, but they were never outfought. They were proud men who believed in fighting to protect their dignity, their homes, and their families. If you're the male descendant of a Confederate soldier, we'd welcome you to join with us in the preservation of that heritage. We're the Sons of Confederate Veterans. Check us out on the internet at scv.org or call us at 800-MY-SOUTH. That's 800-697-6884. Sons of Confederate Veterans, dedicated to preserving the reputation of men like Robert E. Lee, Stonewall Jackson, and your great-grandfather.
Welcome back into Tennessee Tuesday on this Tuesday, March the 24th. I'm John Blankenship, your host. Jason Boshear's not with us this evening, and he won't be for the next couple of weeks as he's out and about and very involved, serves as our Tennessee Division adjutant, and he gets busy this time of year as our division reunion, James, is coming up here in about 3 weeks. It's going to be in Morristown, and of course, we've had past Division Commander Mike Beck on with us. We've had Jordy Barnett as they are organizing a good event for us. And we want to go ahead and talk about that again, as you still have a little time to get your application submitted there to be a registration, I should say, to join us on April the 17th and 18th. That's going to be in Morristown. Again, you can go to the division's website at tennesseescv.org, and there you'll find all the details needed to how you can get registered for the weekend. Of course, there will be a meet and greet on Friday night at the Longstreet Museum, the business meeting on Saturday there at Morristown again, and then we'll have that afternoon the monument dedication. So we've talked about this, an exciting time to get to see a new Confederate monument dedicated during a division reunion. This will be on Saturday afternoon, April the 18th. This will be in Russellville at the General Longstreet Museum, the Bradford Rose Camp, and the Sam Davis UDC helping raise funds. And the Tennessee Division has been able to contribute towards this project, and excited to see this monument dedicated on April the 18th. So go ahead, and there's a banquet that evening too. Make your plans. There's still room for you to be there. Again, tennesseescv.org. You can find all the contact information and get your registration turned in. So that's going to be a good event up there. And then, James, you're getting ready, as you said, to host next year's division reunion. And also, James, you're already signed up for this. You don't really have a choice. You're going to help if we get to host maybe the 2029 national reunion in Franklin. We're working on plans for that. I know you and Lee Miller have both helped organize a national reunion, so you guys are going to get utilized.
Sounds good.
That's all I got out of you with it. That's good. So you're going to be working. We're excited about that, and we hope to have our proposal in to the national committee very, very soon as we get the details put together. That'll be a good time in Franklin. Of course, just a little teaser. We're not far from our national headquarters in Columbia, so we're going to work on something special there for the members that come and attend that national reunion. Fingers crossed, 2029. We hope to host that in Tennessee, and be watching for more details about that after all the approvals are done and it's all organized. Also, another event coming up, of course, we mentioned the awards banquet there at the Morristown Landing. That's going to be a good event that evening. We have an award ceremony. Of course, those will be announced that evening, and there are some good folks that will be receiving awards. Let me say that have really worked hard in our division, and we appreciate those nominations. And I encourage you, if you've got a division reunion, to nominate your members for awards. James, you've sat in this seat that I'm currently in, and a lot of times folks don't nominate their members for the hard work we see our members doing.
No, the members, they like getting awards. They like getting, know that they're appreciated for what they've done during the year. So it's important to nominate people.
Well, a campaign we're working on, James, we've talked about, and the final details will be out to our division executive council here in a couple of days, as we want to do a campaign of billboards across the state of Tennessee over the next few months. And we've, or at least I have at the moment, have looked at some locations that get good traffic, that will get us good visibility and good communities. And we want to do some of those. And we'll be offering that proposal to our council to approve those. And you're looking at the billboard, James, you kind of help contribute to this idea here as well, is to promote our Tennessee division license plates, which, James, without these, the funding that comes in from our license plates, many of the projects we do wouldn't be possible.
That's right. The license plates have funded a lot of projects across the division. A lot of the monuments that we put up in Murfreesboro were, paid for with the license plates funds. So it's important to keep putting those tags on the road. And I think these billboards are really going to help out too. It's got the division website, and it's going to serve a lot of different purposes at one time, promote the license plates in the SCV.
And that's important to know. And we get asked this question from time to time. Do you have to be an SCV member in Tennessee to have those? No. We've got them for cars and for motorcycles. And here's a sample of both tags there. So if you have a licensed vehicle in the state of Tennessee, you can get this tag, and a portion of those funds come back to the Tennessee division. And one of those projects that we give a portion of that funding to is the Tennessee State Museum. And myself and Jason Boshears are going to be working with Ashley to get a list of all the things that we have funded over the years, which is probably, James, correct me if I'm wrong, close to 20 years. I think we've had these tags. It's getting pretty close to that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So again, we want to get a list, and we want to put that out to the members to say, hey, here's where the funds that are coming from that go to, and also to the general public, know that you're helping preserve Confederate artifacts. And again, that's one of the projects that we work on with some of that funding that comes from our tags. Other events that are coming up, this is happening this weekend, and I'm not 100% sure if this is sold out or not, but if it's not and you're still interested, reach out to headquarters. This is the 2026 National Chaplains Conference, which will be held at Elm Springs. That's going to be a good event there. Our division chaplain, Jim Collinsworth, is signed up to go on Saturday, and I know some others are as well. So if you're still interested in that, you can reach out to Eric Pravetti at headquarters to see if there's any room still available for you to attend that. Also, the Pilgrimage and Confederate Memorial Service at Elm Springs there. I've been to this event in the past, always a good time. And some great things are going to be happening at this event on May the 2nd. The ground's opening at 9 o'clock and then open till 4 that day. You can tour the museum. Our current Commander-in-Chief, Donnie Kennedy, will be the master of ceremonies for the event. The keynote address during the pilgrimage will be Teresa Roan. So if you've never heard her speak, you're going to be in for a blessing there, a good presentation she will have on May the 2nd. Also, music by Strings of Secession. It's going to be a good day to come see the museum and just gather with some good Southern fellowship. The Pilgrimage and Confederate Memorial Service taking place there, and we'll be honoring H.K. Edgerton too, and we'll be talking more about that again as that time draws closer. Also, we've been talking about the Army of Tennessee. There is a workshop and reunion of speakers lined up, a good lineup. Rich Garcia, Forrest Dawes, Jimmy Hill, and Connor Bond will be speaking on May the 2nd. That's the same day as the pilgrimage, but that's good to have multiple events going on. That means folks are active in doing things. May the 2nd from 9 till 3. That will be there at the Southern Cultural Center. So you can reach out to Army of Tennessee Commander Carl Jones, and he can get you the details if you would like to come to that event. And, of course, our very own from Tennessee, Lieutenant Commander Rich Garcia, going to be a part of that event as well. So let's look at a couple of events. Folks have sent us some photographs of some things that have been going on around the division. And one of those we want to go ahead and promote again. 2 weekends ago, I was at the book sale there that took place at Elm Springs, and Jason Boshears and myself did a walking tour of the property, and we talked about the Forest Plaza and the rebuilding there of that plaza that will be getting started very soon. And we broke it down in a 30-minute video And Jason did a fantastic job as we walked through the property. We looked how things are going to be and learned all about it. And I got to see some of the sites there at Elm Springs. That is on our Tennessee Tuesday Facebook page. We have that video uploaded there for you. So if you'd like to go back and watch that and learn about the project and where we currently are, we have a good update there for you as well. And these are just some photographs of our video tour. We did appreciate Jason helping out that day. And there you can see where the General and Mrs. Forrest were originally in their entombments there. Of course, that's on display as well. We went inside the museum and looked at the Forrest display. So make your plans to go by there and see all of that at our National Confederate Museum and check that video out that's posted as well. Also, of course, this past weekend, the Frank Gracie Camp, 225 in Clarksville, participated in the Erin Irish Day Parade there, and you can see some of their camp members and their float that they had decorated up for that parade. And I know they've participated before, and a great job done by those guys and the ladies there that participated as well. Also, this past weekend, the Highland Brigade, or this past week, rather, I should say, held their General Patrick Claiborne birthday celebration there, an event in Monterey. And the guest speaker there, Mr. Thomas Cartwright, you can see him speaking to the crowd. Good attendance. And here's some more photographs of the event. The Dillard Judd Camp, along with the Highland Brigade there. Shout out to Mike Dunn and Jimmy Vincent for their work and others that made that event possible. Very nicely decorated there. And you see some more photographs. See Jason there in line and Mandy getting ready to get in. I believe some of Mandy's banana pudding may have been there. James, I'm sure you've had some of that.
Yep.
It's very, very good. Very good. And then there's some more photographs from outside the firing of the cannon and another good shot there. And some of those photographs are from Mike Dunn. So those are courtesy of him. And then David Daniels sent this one here in of him and Jimmy Vincent. So a good crowd there of folks and a good event. And then there's another one of him speaking there for the evening. Well, there's some of the events that are happening around the division. So lots of stuff going on. We're getting into division reunion time, which will be next month. And then Confederate memorial services will be coming up again. James mentioned as we close tonight on April the 25th, they're in Fayetteville if folks want to come. Are you still with me, James?
Yeah. Yeah. I thought you said it all for me. Yeah.
Tell me the April 25th event one more time and the details and the times.
April 25th, Lincoln County Courthouse in Fayetteville, Tennessee, from 11 until 2. We're going to have a local musician, Randy Waller, playing some music. Tennessee State Senator Janice Bolin will be there. Music by Tater and Joe. Mike Dunn's going to give a program for us, and hopefully he'll play Dixie on his fiddle, and then we'll have a replay at the Confederate Monument.
Yeah, always a nice event. Going to be a good event there. And I don't think I'm going to get to be with you this year, James. Right now, there's an event, Camp 176 in Union City is going to hold for the Unknown Soldiers Monument. It's a fundraiser that's set up that day. So I'm probably going to be there this year, but I think Rich and Sean are going to be over there with you probably in Fayetteville. Lots of stuff going on in the division that time. As we get into April, we know all these events and Confederate memorial services start to kick in. But that's good. I'd rather have a whole bunch of events we all can't be at together, and that means we're honoring the Confederate soldier.
That's it.
Well, I want to go ahead and put this up. Rich shared here, of course, a feminine touch there to that event by the OCR, Pam and Christy. I know they did a good job, and others helped making that event there in Monterey possible. Again, a shout out to all those. And David Daniels mentions the late Skip Earl. James, of course, without his work, and we talked about our division tags earlier, that wouldn't have probably ever happened if it wasn't for him staying on that and making sure that occurred. So again, we appreciate him and we remember him from all those that have dedicated so much. So that's just about going to wrap it up for this edition of Tennessee Tuesday. Again, James Patterson has been our guest tonight. He is a candidate for the Army of Tennessee commander position, and that will be happening at the National Reunion in July. Again, James, thank you so much, and know the door is always open.
Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up. We you for your comments. We thank you for being with us this evening, and we'll be back again next Tuesday evening, the 31st, and we'll be having more guests. Again, Jason not with us tonight. Wanted to let folks know a couple of comments. Where's Jason at? Jason's working on other projects right now and couldn't be with us tonight, and also next week he'll be out as well. Roy Hudson will be our guest next week on Tennessee Tuesday to talk about his candidacy for Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief of the SCV. And again, we look forward to having you back next week. Have yourself a great rest of this weekend and coming up, and enjoy your week. We'll talk to you Tuesday. God bless you.